This is Kevin Gordon from Auto Savant with your January 27th edition of the Afternoon Commute. I believe this will be the 12th Afternoon Commute, which means that I've now had a longer run than most of CBS's fall lineup. I wanted to start out today by apologizing. And no, I'm not apologizing for every time the fact that I look to the left, you can see my bald spot, or the fact that I stumble and mumble through words that my 3-year-old daughter can manage to say and enunciate clearly. It's about the fact that I'm going to talk about the Chevy Volt and Ford again. What can I say? They just won't leave the news. So starting with Ford, as I talked a little bit about yesterday, Ford announced a $20 billion post-tax profit for 2011, an $8.8 billion pre-tax profit for 2011 because of a one-time special accounting measure that happened. And yet it failed pretty significantly to meet the Wall Street analysts' expectations for how they were going to do, which nobody's ever happy about. It's kind of become a funny game, finances. It's like not what you do, it's how well you did against how well everybody thought you were going to do. Ford blamed the shortcoming against expectations on losses that happened both in Europe and in the Asia-Pacific region. The interesting part to take away from all of this is the fact that this one-time special accounting measure basically goes to prove that Ford expects that they're going to remain profitable for the foreseeable future, and as a result they could write down this whole thing, and so moving forward hopefully they'll be in the black and continue to operate successfully. Moving on to the Chevy Volt. So GM is now on a full frontal assault to rebuild the image of the Chevy Volt and try to turn it into a sales success. Because last year they really didn't sell as many Volts as they expected, and they already know that they're not going to sell as many in 2012 as they initially expected. So expect to see a large marketing campaign around the Volt and how safe it is and wonderful it is, and the fact that it'll make you coffee in the morning. And also expect to see them try to use the Volt platform under some additional cars. I guess the Cadillac ATS potentially, and the European equivalents of the Volt, which I believe is an Opel in some form. And then also expect the Volt to spawn a line of cars much like the Prius V has done, to some kind of, more utilitarian vehicle with a wagon back, or whatever they're calling those things these days. And finally, as I like to try to take Fridays and finish them on an up note, the automobile advertisers have started to leak their Super Bowl ads that will happen next weekend. There's 3 that have come out so far, starting with Audi. So Audi has jumped on the vampire bandwagon and is running an ad about how their new LED headlights are so bright they're like sunlight. It goes to prove that the vampire, werewolf, potentially zombie thing has finally jumped the shark and ran full circle, and maybe somebody in Hollywood can come up with an original idea. We shall see. Next up, Honda is being rumored to be reprising oh man, what's his name? He's married to Sarah Jessica Parker. They might have it written down over here. Matthew Broderick, right? Matthew Broderick. They're reprising Matthew Broderick in his role as Ferris Bueller, with the twist being that he's not parking a Ferrari, he's parking a 2012 CR-V. People still, should be interesting to see him back. It's being directed by the guy who directed the Hangover movies. Unfortunately, the person who directed Ferris Bueller's Day Off passed away in 2009. And the third advertiser that's leaked their promo is Suzuki for the Kizashi sedan, which is a wonderful car. Everybody loves to drive it. Doesn't seem like many people like to buy it, unfortunately. And you have to figure Suzuki's going to blow through most of their Kizashi advertising budget on a singular Super Bowl ad. But we'll see what it does for them. So that's your afternoon commute for Friday, January 27th. I'm Kevin Gordon, and I look forward to talking to you next week.